ladies, and welcome to Menopause Made Easy with Tanya, where we demystify midlife wellness so that you can feel vibrant, strong, empowered, energetic, be a wise woman full of wisdom, and live this one half to one third part of your life feeling great. Yes, I know that you can. I know that you want to. And this is it. This is the actually yesterday, April or August 30th was the last day of the early bird special. If it's still up, go check it out. I may leave it up for one more day. This will be the last day of the early bird special where it's 50% off the midlife reboot. You get 3 months of Vibrant Living with Tanya Academy, Vibrant Living Academy. You get a 45-minute private session with me. And even more than that, you get to put all of this wisdom and knowledge and put it into a plan and a container with support and be able to thrive and not feel overwhelmed and stuck, but you actually have guidance and motivation. And again, if you have any questions, please ask me, but go to vibrantlivingwithtanya.com/midlife reboot. The website is in the show notes. And let's dive into today's episode, which is all about the macrobiotic diet, which is an approach rooted in ancient Eastern philosophies that offer deep nourishment, seasonal living, and mindful eating. And you'll learn what it is, how it benefits your gut, your microbiome, your overall health in menopause, and what a balanced, protein-rich macrobiotic diet day looks like. And I'm going to get focus on Canada, and I'm going to go through 4 seasons across different different provinces. Oh, been taping a lot of podcasts. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we're going to also compare 2 women, one embracing new styles of eating with flexibility and curiosity, and the other, it'll be Karen. Karen will be stuck in the habits of the standard American diet. For the last, 6 weeks, I believe it is, 6 Sundays, I've been popping in here with bonus episodes. We started with snacking, then nighttime eating. We moved to carnivore, keto, vegan and vegetarianism. Then we talked about seasonal eating. Oh, summer, stuck in a summer diet. Oh, then we talked about carbohydrates last week. This is number 8. Oh my goodness. This is number 8 bonus episode. And what I really wanted to do is September is gearing up pretty quickly. It starts tomorrow. Is a time of renewed energy. School is starting. We're transitioning from summer to fall. And we are, oh my goodness, putting on our pants, maybe going, oopsie daisy, what happened? And we want to embrace this energy of the fall and not put our attention on yet another diet and quick fix attempt, but rather adopt habits and principles for sustained long-term change so that you can thrive during this period of your life. Let's dive in today. What is a microbiotic diet? The word microbiotic comes from the Greek macro, meaning long, and bios, meaning life, long life. So at its core, this diet is about living a long, healthy life through harmony with nature, which kind of resonates to the episodes we've been talking about eating in season. This diet, everybody has to form a diet because, then they get people to follow it. I like to take, all of these diets and see how can I make my diet for consistency in my life, for sustainability, for my goals, understanding that it tweaks and ebbs and flows depending on my workouts, my not workouts, the seasons that we're in, right? So just we don't get stuck into one thing, but this is a very fluid, and I love that it's working with harmony and nature. And this diet was developed by George Osawa in the early 20th century based on ancient Japanese and Chinese philosophies, particularly yin and yang balance and traditional Japanese food culture. It became popular in the West in the 1960s and 70s as a holistic anti-inflammatory lifestyle, which is beautiful. I'm always looking for holistic and anti-inflammatory because, as we know, inflammation is the root of all disease. This macrobiotic way of eating emphasizes whole, seasonal, and local foods. Check, check, check. We've gone over that. A foundation of whole grains like brown rice, millet, barley, cooked vegetables, especially root and sea vegetables, legumes like lentils and azuki beans, fermented foods like miso and pickles, occasional fish and seasonal fruit, and very little dairy, meat, sugar, caffeine, or alcohol. It's not just about what you eat, but it's also how you eat, which is one thing we do, mindful eating, chewing our food slowly, gratefully, and aligned with nature. How does macrobiotic benefit your gut and hormones as you move through this menopausal adventure? And, those hormones are going up and down. I just, again, was on the phone or on the Zoom with my client this morning. She's like, oh my gosh, Tanya, this is crazy. And it is. It's a crazy experience. It's a crazy ride. These hormones are all over the place. So we want to get even smarter about what's actually happening with our body. So we're going to dive into the gut microbiome because, as you know, the gut talks to the brain. And the higher the fiber content from grains and vegetables and legume really nourishes your gut bacteria. Again, I have to tell you guys, where you are eating now, you have to gradually change. So when I'm saying some of these things, for example, when I was a sugar addict and I wanted to not eat sugar, I was trying to do it in a day or a week. I had to do steps to balance my blood sugars, to get my emotions on board, to get my habits on board. It was a process. If you are eating a diet that is not gut friendly right now, the last thing you want to do is move to like a 30-gram day of fiber. It's going to hurt your gut, right? So this is why in the midlife reboot, we talk about where are you now? What are your goals? What are the simple shifts you take to get from point A to point B? Not in a week, but how do we work with your body, your mind, your spirit, your energy to get where you want to go? Where are your sabotages coming up? Where are you thriving? All right. So if somebody has a standard American diet and then and that they're getting, I don't know, 7 grams of protein or fiber a day, and I start telling them to have lots of vegetables, eat some legumes, right? They're going to feel awful. This is why you really have to understand yourself and be aware of what's going on. And we do that in the midlife reboot. Adding in fermented foods, maybe you're like, gross, I don't want to eat fermented foods. That's how I was. And so maybe you find one that works for you. I have these amazing pickles that I love. So I did a simple switch and got different pickles. And there's some fermented food in my diet. So it doesn't have to be miso or sauerkraut or kimchi. You can do like there's so many things. Again, we talk about this in the midlife reboot. But you want to have some fermented foods like miso or sauerkraut to help restore microbial diversity, which declines with age, and antibiotic use if you have been on it. So we do need to care for our gut. What is the next best step for you? Blood sugar regulation. Yes, this is something that we need to look at, right? So where are you now? What is your goal? What's the next step we can do to help you regulate your blood sugar so that we decrease your insulin spikes, that we don't get diabetes or mental cognition issues? This is important. And so the low glycemic nature of a macrobiotic diet, foods, whatever, helps reduce insulin resistance, especially important during menopause because our hormones are shifting, which really increases our risk for metabolic disaster. Okay. So I'm just telling myself this because I still love me my sweets. So I have to do my 5 hacks to cut your cravings. I follow those principles. And whatever I teach in the midlife reboot, I follow those principles. And I'm focused on progress, not perfection. So, estrogen detoxification, cruciferous vegetables and fermented foods help your liver and your gut break down excess estrogen and toxins. We go all through this in the midlife reboot. Mood and mental clarity. Balanced blood sugars mean that you're going to have better moods and mental clarity. A stable gut flora and mindful eating all support mental health during these hormonal transitions, which are super important. You're going to have reduced inflammation, right? So this macrobiotic way of eating really focuses on getting rid of those ultra processed oils and refined sugars. I've done so many episodes on this. And this diet is deeply anti-inflammatory, which eases joint pain, bloating, and fatigue. And it also comes into that principle we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the seasonal eating, not getting stuck in the summertime diet, right? So eating in rhythm with the Canadian seasons, and this will help your circadian biology. It'll support your mitochondrial and hormone resilience, which is what we need. I'm going to share with you a sample day to reach 120 grams of protein on a traditionally lower protein macrobiotic diet. We're going to pulse in some plant-based proteins, some occasional fish and tempeh, and protein complementing combinations like grains and legumes. And here's what this could look like. I will just put my hand up here. I don't eat tofu, tempeh. I really don't eat beans. So I pulse in and out of grains. I am more meat and veg, and some other things. So I have some principles of this diet, but I am not eating some of these things that I'm going to mention. But that's okay, because N of one, you find what works for you. That's the part of this. And if you've been listening to all my episodes, you really get to understand your rhythm and what you need to work on. Okay. So say, for example, a macrobiotic diet example, if your fall, which is coming up in September, right, is for breakfast, maybe you move into a warming food of some quinoa porridge with some ground flax, pumpkin seeds, and almond butter. I would probably tend to do a oat porridge, but just saying. For lunch, some miso soup, some brown rice, some steamed kale, roasted squash and lentils, which would be about 30 grams. Sorry, breakfast would be about 20. Your snack would be seaweed crackers with some hummus and edamame. I would be skipping some of that and have the edamame. Dinner is some stir-fried tempeh with burdock root, carrots, tamari, and wild rice, which gets you about 35 grams. And for evening snack or dessert, you could have some pumpkin chia seed pudding with pea protein, which gets you about 20 grams. So I can definitely tell you that is not how I eat. I'm definitely more meat focused with the way that I eat, but that works for me. And it has changed over the years. So you could try this. Now, say it's winter in the prairies. So if you're in Alberta, Saskatchewan, I have some clients in Alberta, right? Their breakfast, they move into steel cut oats. Oh, I love steel cut oats with some hemp hearts, some tahini, some dried figs. That's going to get you about 25 grams of protein. Lunch could be in a zuki bean stew with barley, turnips, and cabbage. See, I would have meat with all those things. That's okay. That's 30 grams of protein. Snack could be some roasted chickpeas and some miso broth. I would tend to have some bone broth. A dinner would be some baked tofu, rutabaga mash, some sauteed collard greens, and amaranth. That's going to get you about 35 grams of protein. And evening would be some almond milk, golden milk, as we call it, with turmeric and maybe some Juice Plus protein. Ooh, I like that one. So springtime. So we're just moving into the fall winter here, but let's pretend it's spring and you live in any province, basically, because we all have this kind of spring. But you're going to maybe have some amaranth cereal. So you're changing up your grains with some spirulina. I love me my spirulina and chlorella. Some pumpkin seeds and berries, because berries are starting to come into the season here, especially in certain provinces more than the other. Light or lunch again could be a light miso broth with some millet and asparagus, because asparagus are coming up in season. Some fresh peas, some tempeh, that gets you about 30 grams. Snack would be some carrot sticks with sunflower seed spread. That's about 10 grams. Dinner is a quinoa salad with some herbs, white beans, lemon miso dressing, which gets you about 40 grams. And then for evening, a lightly baked bean dessert or a protein tea latte, that would get you about 15 grams. So again, it's always like, do you want to eat like this? How close are you to eating like this? How would eating like this make you feel? And then summer, we're in the summer diet here. We have a smoothie bowl. See how this is changing with the seasons? We're not having a smoothie bowl every single day. And we're going to maybe have some tofu in there with some berries and chia and some protein powder. That gets you about 30 grams. For lunch, you're going to have some cold soba noodles. Oh, I make a great salad. Maybe I make that with some edamame, cucumber, and nori. And that's about 25 grams. For snack, you're going to do some watermelon and some sunflower seeds. Delish. That's 10 grams. For dinner, some grilled tempeh with corn, zucchini, and some rice. They like to use a lot of brown rice. I'm a white rice kind of gal. That's 40 grams. And for evening, maybe you sip on some miso broth with some steamed greens. So again, you can see how they're eating with the season. They're not stuck on a perpetual summer diet, which is what we talked about a couple of summers ago. Now, here's two women with two different mindsets. They're the same age, similar body types, same access to food and fitness. And Lisa is the flexible explorer. All right. And Lisa, like how I want all of you to tap into, is intuitively listening to your body. And she experiments with plant-forward eating, pulses in some animal protein when needed, adapts her meals with the seasons. She tracks her digestion, her energy, and her hormones. She enjoys cooking and views food as a way to nurture herself. I used to punish myself, but anyway, with food. And she tries the macrobiotic lifestyle, not dogmatically, not rigidly, but as a gentle framework. And over time, she notices she has less bloating and inflammation. Her joints feel better. She sleeps better. Her moods are stable. Her skin is clearer. And she has improved blood sugar because she's been getting her blood work done and she can see improvements. Because, like I said, everybody, your diet has a major influence on how you feel and what's happening in your cells. Remember, we are not our genetics. Look up epigenetics. Genetics is the gun, epigenetics is the trigger. It's our environment and our habits and our lifestyle that are pulling the trigger, everyone. Okay. All right. Then we have Karen, who is the stuck saboteur. And Karen says she's eating healthy, but she relies on, and I see so many women still doing this, and that's okay. That's okay. You can't change what you don't know, right? But they're eating cold cereal with skim milk every day of the year. They're relying on soy protein bars with lots of crap in them. They're eating processed healthy snacks. Ugh. Microwave dinners, which are basically dead food. Lots of coffee because they got to keep themselves pumped up. Karen's got to pump herself up. She's having wine at night and she's eating too late after 9 o'clock. She's skipping meals. Then she overeats. She's snacking mindlessly. She doesn't believe she can make any lasting changes at all. Her body feels heavy. She's often tired, constipated, bloated, and she just blames it on aging and menopause and has no connection to how food makes her feel. And her doctor also says your lifestyle has nothing to do with how you feel. Because there are some people who are still stuck in really the dark ages when it comes to, oh my God, how your lifestyle affects your health. Okay. So the difference between Lisa and Karen is that Lisa treats her diet as a relationship to be nurtured, not a punishment. And I have to tell you, I used my diet and my nutrition as punishment, as, oh my gosh, just complete ignorance of how food affected my body. I did. I had no idea. No idea. I was having cold cereal all the time. I was eating store-bought processed foods. I loved me some microwave dinners, as some Swanson TV dinners when I was, in my late 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years of age. Loved those things. I can barely eat today a lot of stuff in a grocery store because it tastes like plastic. Everything just tastes artificial and plastic to me because I am very much into making my own foods. And when you do start to upgrade your food quality, you will begin to taste the plastic and artificial flavor in these foods. Trust me. All right. So, but I was more like Karen. Karen treated food as a coping mechanism because I didn't know how to deal with stress. I didn't know how to deal with being tired. I didn't know how to deal with being frustrated. I didn't know how to handle my blood sugar levels. I didn't know any of this. I had no idea. Zero, zip. And I just ended up teaching myself because I just could not be like that anymore. And I felt powerless. I felt completely powerless because if you listen to mainstream media and all the rest of it, I was doing everything right, but I felt like crap. Okay. So that's why I created the midlife reboot, because when you know better, you do better. And I make it fun. I make it fun. We have fun. I'm telling you, we have fun. We work on progress. We work on playing. We work on just trying different things, seeing how they feel, and you're in a safe environment. We talk about nervous system. Oh my gosh, we talk about so many things, which I probably should have done an episode on that. But you know what? If you're interested, you've either reached out to me, you've signed up, you've taken advantage of the early bird specials, and you are scared. You're scared because change is scary, can be scary. But there's one thing in life I will guarantee you on is that nothing stays the same. So just get over that. It's okay to be scared and do something. I am all the time. And you are going to see me next week on Zoom, face to face with me. So I would love for you to, step in to discomfort and join me. We're not going to be uncomfortable all the time. We're going to have fun. We're going to practice. We're going to play. And we're going to really enjoy this midlife reboot. The takeaway from today's episode was really mindset is huge. Your microbiome is huge because it really affects how you eat. And when you combine those two, you get a metabolic shift, which is really going to impact your energy, your sleep, your vitality, your health. I just know it because I have worked with women who are open to suggestions, willing to try new things like Lisa, okay, willing to try different ways. They're not stuck. And like I said, we have fun. So please check out vibrantlivingwithtanya.com/midlife reboot. Reach out to me. I would love to have you in the September 8th. That's when we start. The macrobiotic diet isn't about perfection or restriction. It's about rhythm, your nature, your body, your breath. A lot of these diets I've shared with you over the last 8 weeks are really about, again, like I said, what from certain ones benefit you right now, right? Find your rhythm. And especially in menopause, when your body is recalibrating all the time, this way of eating can restore your gut, your energy, and your emotional steadiness. Maybe you want to try, if you're not already, adding some more warm food, cooked food into your diet, leaning into seasonal fruits and vegetables, adding fermented food weekly, exploring some miso, tempeh, sea vegetables. I've explored all of them, right? Do I like them? Do I not like them? Can I hide them in things? How do they make me feel? Are they a part of my uh, day-to-day diet, or do I pulse them in? Eating mindfully, right, is something that we practice as well. Chewing our food, no screens, no rush, slowing down. Your gut doesn't have teeth. Let's honor our digestion. And again, like with all things that I teach privately and in my midlife reboot, we approach our body with curiosity, compassion, not criticism, and we are not in a hurry. Okay, we are not in a hurry. I really hope that you have taken advantage of the early bird special. The midlife reboot will be open for one more week, but the early bird special is bye-bye. So you can still come in. Okay, so I know some of you still want to come in. That's fine. Sign up, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you for being here. Maybe I do an episode next Sunday. Maybe I don't. I haven't decided yet. I'm taping this in July, so I'm going to see. I'm gonna think about it for a bit. See how much information I still want to share. All right, ladies. So I've given you lots of things to think about, and in the midlife reboot, we put information into action, because if you don't take information and put it into action, it's nothing. Bye-bye. Okay, so we plant the seeds, we water the seeds, and we sprout. Please share this episode with your family and friends. Please follow me. It helps other people find me. If you have it in your heart to give me a review, that would be lovely. You can follow me on Instagram at at Vibrant Living with Tanya. I'm on Facebook. And thank you, thank you, thank you for listening to my podcast. And if you are ready to take your eating, movement, and mindset habits to the next level, please check out my midlife reboot program, which I have linked in the show notes. Until next time, ladies, stay well, stay curious, and remember, your body is very wise. Listen to her. Lean in. Healthy hugs.